Van Jones made a comment on CNN about the future of the Democratic Party, and the establishment clutched its pearls over it.
When Hillary Clinton had a chance to make a VP pick, she didn't pick someone from the progressive wing, which made it much harder to heal those wounds with the Sanders and Elizabeth Warren wing. Keith Ellison represents that wing very, very well. You also, I think, have to remember that Sanders and Elizabeth Warren are going to be there on the Senate floor every day. That's going to be an important part. You have to understand, I think, that the Clinton days are over. This idea that we're going to be this moderate party that's going to move in this direction, that's going to throw blacks under the bus for criminal justice reform and or for prison expansion, that's going to throw workers under the bus for NAFTA, those days are over. You can't run and hide. You've got to be an authentic person from the beginning. You're going to be judged based on your authentic commitment to the actual base of this party, and if you don't do that, you can't win.
I can't believe this is viewed as controversial. I can't believe the headlines this generated. I can't believe how much of an angry backlash there was to this. He said the most banal, obvious thing I've ever heard to anybody who's an actual voter, especially a Democratic voter. They heard this and they went, yeah, duh. Like, that's the obvious answer. It's laying right in front of you. After you have an election which was supposed to be a fucking landslide in Hillary's direction, and it wasn't, Donald Trump won with over 300 electoral votes. After you have that election where the Democrats get their fucking clocks cleaned across the board, and Republicans now hold everything. They hold state legislatures, governorships, House representatives, the Senate, and the presidency. Well, what's the answer? The answer is the opposite of whatever the fuck you were just doing. And what were they just doing? They were drinking the neoliberal Kool-Aid for decades. For decades, they said, oh, we're the new Democrats. You know what a new Democrat is? That's when Clinton ran. At the time, the Republicans had kept winning election after election after election. And Clinton came along and said, okay, look, I'm a centrist-y kind of Democrat. I'm a new Democrat. I do triangulation, is the political science term. Where sometimes I agree with the right, sometimes I agree with the left. I'm kind of above the fray, and I'm above it all, so vote for me because I'm a pragmatist. This was the argument he made. Now, at the time, it was a politically smart move because people viewed Democrats as too far left. Now, that's not true policy-wise. Policy-wise, they were spot on, but they viewed them as too far left because they saw the hippie movement, and they were just coming off the hippie movement and free love, and everybody do acid and fuck everybody, and mainstream America, buttoned down with the suit and tie, were like, ooh, that is icky. So they went for guys like Reagan and George H.W. Bush. Well, along came Bill Clinton and said, no, I'm a new Democrat. I'm a respectable Democrat. Fuck all that hippie bullshit. We're centrists, and we get shit done, and we're pragmatists. So at the time, it was brilliant politically, and he won. And he got 2 terms. But then what happened? Then we got George W. Bush. George W. Bush is a right-wing extremist. He's a neocon. He's a deep believer in American exceptionalism. He pulled the spectrum insanely far to the right. So they elected a black guy with a Muslim-sounding name after that. Why? Because they thought, hey, maybe we're actually going to get what we want now, which is far left. We didn't get that. We got the same kind of centrist, new Democrat, neoliberal horse shit. And then Hillary Clinton came along and thought, I got it. Let's do that again, even though the people were yearning for an anti-establishment progressive candidate in 2008, and they wanted it even more now, which is why a guy who's 917 years old, who doesn't comb his fucking hair, and he's a Jewish atheist socialist, why that guy almost beat you when nobody knew who the fuck he was at the beginning of it. He won 22 states. 22 states, got 47% of the vote, with a giant bias against him in the establishment. So, but Hillary Clinton, in her ultimate hubris, the answer for Democrats is always to run further right. Always run further right. Always be more pro-establishment, more pro-corporatist. That's the way to go. Because that's what the lesson of my husband when he ran. So now the Democrats have to do that and snub your base, smack them in the fucking face. So Tim Kaine, oh, that's who I picked for VP. What do you mean? Why are you guys angry? I only picked the most boring white guy in America who's pro-TPP. That is literally the last person you should have picked. If I was making a list of people, I would put fucking Ted Bundy above Tim Kaine. Okay, I'm kidding about that. But he's, as far as the spectrum of picks to make, he was on the worst end. He was, don't do it, you're going to lose if you do it. But she couldn't help herself. God forbid she pick Elizabeth Warren. God forbid she pick an actual progressive. No. The answer is always run further right. So you snub your base enough times, and guess what happens? They say, fuck you. And then you create the burn your bus movement. And you create people who say, you're not a real progressive. Why am I going to vote for you? Oh, you speak the language of progressives, sometimes maybe, not really. But when it comes to your policies, you were in favor of NAFTA, you called TPP the gold standard and pushed for it 45 times, you supported the Iraq war, you supported intervention in Libya, you want intervention in Syria. Why the fuck should I vote for you? Why should I vote for you? So now he comes along and he goes, okay, guys, come on. Come on. The establishment wing is over. The Hillary wing is over. You need to actually listen to your base. Don't abandon your base as politics 101. The Democrats always do the opposite of that. And then they go, why did we lose? I lost. Why did we lose? I don't even get... Because your strategists are morons. And they're going based off an old model of how to win. And now they have it exactly backwards. And furthermore, you're all corrupt. You're all taking the Wall Street money now. You're all taking the Wall Street money. So you're doing a lot of the shit that Republicans would do either way. So we're supposed to be excited to vote for you because you're a little bit less hawkish than the Republicans. You're a little bit less corrupt. And you're pro-gay marriage and abortion. And we're supposed to go, oh, yes, I can't wait to go vote for you when people are fucking struggling. 50% of the country makes $30,000 a year or less. Everybody's in fucking poverty. Half the country's in fucking poverty. And you're like, yeah, no, let's just go. The country's already great. Yay, status quo. Well, when people aren't feeling that, they're not going to feel you and they're not going to vote for you. And now these arrogant monsters, the hubris of this, they're like, no, we're still in control. We're still in power. There was a story yesterday. Obama is going to give his farewell address. I'm kind of spoiling a story that we're doing later in the show. But he's going to lay out his anti-Trump plan. You know what? How about you sit this one out, buddy? How about you sit this one out? You were just president, and you were snubbed when voters picked him over the candidate that you campaigned for. So you're missing something. I'm not saying Obama's all bad. He's not. He's a very mixed character. But he ain't doing something right. Trump is succeeding you. So this is clear stuff, guys. This isn't difficult. Whether or not the future is the Bernie wing or the Hillary wing is not up in the air. It's not up in the air. In every poll, Bernie Sanders was beating Donald Trump by, I think it was 10 points on average, about 10 points on average in a general election. Now, granted, that was early on, but that's all the evidence we have as to how that would have went down. He picks off all the voters that gave the election to Trump in the Democratic firewall, which fell in the Rust Belt. They're all former factory workers who are pissed off about the trade deals. Well, guess who has the best voting record ever against the trade deals? Bernie Sanders. Guess who's an actual populist and fights for workers? Bernie Sanders. Trump wouldn't have won if it was Bernie Sanders. Now that's a meme on the internet. Everybody's talking about Bernie would have won, Bernie would have won, Bernie would have won, Bernie would have won. And they say because it's fucking true. So it's not a question, is it the Hillary wing or the Bernie wing that's the future? If you're asking that question, you are so massively disconnected that it's honestly embarrassing. And Van Jones making the most level-headed, clear, accurate comments ever. This isn't controversial among the actual people. It's only controversial in the establishment bubble.